Let me first start this off by introducing myself. I'm Scott Hazelton. I currently work at HRTV in Southern California, and I've been here for close to a decade covering some of the best thoroughbred racing throughout North America. I've gone several times throughout the entire Triple Crown. I've been to Dubai over the last 6 years, covered the last several Breeders' Cup races, and my background really is in horse racing, growing up in racing. My entire family on my father's side was part of horse racing, and that's how I broke into broadcasting, took the opportunity to cover racing here on HRTV. And as far as what I'm looking to do in the future, I'm extremely passionate about all sports, especially football. I love college basketball. I golf whenever I got an opportunity here in Southern California. So that's really where I'm looking to break into sports, through one of those sports in which your company offers on CBS Sports. So by taking a look at this, I hope that you'll see that I'm very diverse in everything, whether it be reporting, sitting at the desk. I've done just about all of it, and I hope this makes that sort of impression on you. The Kentucky Derby, whatever it is, a race, an emotion, a turbulence, an explosion.
And down the stretch they go!
Stunning sensation! Spectacular upset!
And here goes the Secretariat on the outside to take the lead.
Is one of the most beautiful and violent and satisfying things I have ever experienced. John Steinbeck, 1956.
I'll have another and won the Kentucky Derby!
Well, records smashed not only as far as attendance was concerned, but all sources handle up $20+ million for the Run for the Roses here at Churchill Downs. As we come to you one more time live from Louisville, Richie Migliori with me, and Richie, the storyline has to be Mario Gutierrez when we look back on this. A kid who was getting set to head back to Canada just 3 months ago, now here in Kentucky winning the Run for the Roses. I'll Have Another joins Burgoo King in 1932 and Bold Venture in 1936 as Derby and Preakness winners that missed the Belmont Stakes because of injury. Very unfortunate news this morning out here on the East Coast. There is a lot of media growing back at Barn 2, which is the stakes barn. But from what we have heard, Doug O'Neill is not in that stakes barn. He is still back at the hotel, certainly preparing for one of the most difficult talks that he will have with the media, maybe for the rest of his life.
Rachel Alexandra in a thrilling race of heads. It might be unrivaled Bell on the outside.
What were your thoughts?
You know, I thought the filly was very comfortable and stuff. You know, she went 12 and change pretty much the whole way. Nice and relaxed. You know, just she isn't quite as fast as she was at one point last year.
I think sometimes we expect too much from these horses given what they go through.
Well, I think that she's a brilliant mare, you know, and it's a race and it's a measurement, you know, and as far as what we're expecting is where we're at as far as on that measurement.
You experienced defeat with Curlin back when he was running, and experiencing defeat here. No, I know. But just, is it tougher with this filly?
I don't know. You know, when Curling got beaten, you know, that equal bad, real bad is real bad. You know, it's way there. You know, ouch.
We're on leg one of this Dubai trip, and right now it is just about 10 minutes to 8 out here on the West Coast, and it's going to take about 1 day from now to show up in Dubai. We're still in downtown LA on the way to the airport, so I guess you got to start somewhere, and we're starting in a taxi cab. What in the world am I doing putting ski boots on in the deserts of Dubai? Oh yeah, there's a ski hill. Let's rock and roll. We're going inside. It's -4 degrees centigrade. If I would have paid attention in chemistry class, I could probably convert it to Fahrenheit. Where are you from, sir?
South Africa.
South Africa. You remind me a bit of the Mask.
Jim Carrey of Biscuit.
We're in Dubai, in the International Village, but they have a Dunkin' Donuts. Ladies, how are we doing tonight?
We are very happy to be here.
Where are you from?
Germany.
Is this your first time in Dubai?
No, it's the third time.
How are you ladies doing?
We're great.
Is this your first time at the World Cup?
It is, yes.
What do you think of it so far?
It's fantastic.
Pursuit of the Crown is next. Scott Hazelton, Richard Migliori, and Jeff Siegel. Notice Scott Hazelton's private dressing room is porta potty number 2. They're at the top of the hour. Pursuit of the Crown next.
Santa Anita Derby Day, Ms. Racing Queen making an appearance, and a few other queens of racing out here in Southern California. We still have many great races before we get to the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby. We are less than a half an hour away from Aqueduct's marquee 3-year-old event, the Grade 1 Wood Memorial, featuring Verrazano as well as Vijak. Well, this time last year in the Santa Anita Derby, we all sat around and questioned, is I'll Have Another good enough? We haven't seen him in 2 months. What will he do in the Santa Anita Derby? Most like Creative Cause. When it got down to it, it was I'll Have Another, and you know the story thereafter. As we welcome you to Santa Anita Derby Day here on Grandstand, my co-host is Kurt Hoover, and today the big question is, what's Flashback going to do? Can he be a different sort of horse? Will he relax off the pace now with Garrett Gomez riding for Bob Baffert?
St. Nick's in front. He'll go one better this year. St. Nicholas Abbey drew clear. He won the Dubai Shima Classic.
Well, from Churchill to Epsom now to Maidan, do you get more excited for Joseph in these situations than for yourself?
No, listen, it was brilliant. Obviously, it's great when it's so close. Everyone works very hard at home, and obviously Joseph is a big help, so it's great when it works, it pays off.
Not only is Horse of the Year on the line with Game On Dude, but 3-year-old of the Year may be on the line here in this Breeders' Cup Classic with who can outfinish whom in this race when you look at these 3-year-olds. And we start with Palace Malice, and you go back to the summer months when he wins the Grade 1 Belmont. He follows that up with a win in the Grade 1 Jim Dandy. As you can see, put away this field. What do you do with the horse like this at this stage after a couple of, maybe subpar races from him against older? And if you scratch out his run through the Triple Crown, you look at his campaign, it has been a very, very nice campaign. And I had a conversation with Lafitte Pink-Eye about this not long ago, and he said, if you watch Will Take Charge in the Kentucky Derby, he was right there with Orb, but he's the one who got in trouble. So, he could have been right there in the end in the Kentucky Derby back on the first Saturday in May. Bob Baffert also today with his 2 victories, moving into number 2 all-time on the Breeders' Cup wins list with 10 Breeders' Cup victories. Lucas stands alone with 19. Baffert has a lot of ground to make up, but you got to think Baffert's got a lot of live bullets still left, as does Dwayne Lucas with Will Take Charge. And here, as you see Gary Stevens coming out of the room, he is 0 for 12. This is literally the lone empty spot on his resume for a guy that's won everything all over the world. Breeders' Cup Mile involving some of the all-time greats on Breeders' Cup Day, including Lure, Miesk. We saw Goldakova win this 3 consecutive years, and we will find out in minutes whether or not Wise Dan is up to that same task. As I welcome in my co-host Richard Migliori, now joined by Simon Clare, PR Director of Coral. The Euros are killing it. Wise Dan Lascano now riding with Johnny Velasquez, undergoing surgery to remove a spleen after his spill earlier today. How does this affect the game plan with Wise Dan with the presence of Lascano? And keep in mind, Lascano has ridden him as recently as this past May, Richie. Well, the champ repeats in the Breeders' Cup Mile. That is Wise Dan. Not the cleanest of breaks, maybe a stutter step out of the starting gate. He's forced wide, but this is all class from the reigning Horse of the Year. And Silentio, he ran a big race too. He dived down to the inside. He gets outrun late by Za Approval, who ends up second, but that's another strong performance for the Wertheimers and Gary Mandela with Rafael Bejarano. And you've got to think right now, and your heart breaks for Johnny Velasquez, who's over in the hospital across town in Pasadena. Who knows if he's getting a chance to witness this and witness Wise Dan, but it's an unfortunate situation, and Lascano comes in and lifts up Wise Dan to victory. While it wasn't easy, McKay was able to attract some major sponsors, including a hotel chain, bank, and insurance company, as well as 2 national food and beverage giants, Eskimo Pie and Anheuser-Busch. Still, as the first Maryland Million neared, there were unsold sponsorships. So a meeting was needed with Frank DeFrancis, head of the Maryland Jockey Club. Jim and Margaret purchased Belfield Farm in 1982. It was their hope to breed and race a few horses each year. Their first foray into racing was to lease the mare Angie Starr from longtime friend Bob Levy. Levy had owned 1987 Belmont winner Bet Twice, the spoiler to Alishiba's Triple Crown bid. So in 1985, Angie Starr had her first foal. When it came to naming the bay colt, Jim and Margaret took the family route